It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us today. We are talking with Shannon Gray. She is the Prescott Animal Control Supervisor for the Prescott Police Department. Welcome to studio.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I was telling you before the show, I've never had an animal control person in here. I've had lots of police officers, but never an animal control officer, and you have a difficult job. I truly believe you do.
Yes, it can be difficult, absolutely.
So Shannon's here today to talk to us about what it's like to be an animal control officer. How long have you been an animal control officer?
11 years.
11 years, okay. And you're the supervisor, so you're the head of the animal control department.
Yes.
Okay, how many people do you have working for you there?
There's just two of us right now.
Okay.
So not
Does
a
it
whole
keep
lot.
you busy?
That's why we're very busy, yes, just two of us.
Okay, so about how many calls do you think you go on a day? Can you give us an estimate?
It can be anywhere from 5 calls a day to 15.
Okay.
You just never know. I'd say average of 10.
Okay, all right. So what are you doing in off time?
We drive around and patrol the different lakes, water, trailheads, make sure people have their dogs on leashes. Neighborhoods that we know are prone to having dogs running loose, we'll patrol those a lot.
So you do a little education then too. I mean, okay, so let's say you go out to Willow and Watson Lake and you find somebody out there and they've just got their dog running loose and stuff. How do you handle that situation?
You know, it depends on what's going on. Normally, we're going to approach them and say, hey, are you aware there's a leash law? Oftentimes, people just have no clue, and we'll provide them a leash and let them know. And as long as they're willing to leash up their dog and control it from then on, we're all right. We might issue them a written warning. If their dog is just running around and chasing geese and jumping on people and they just don't care, then they're probably going to get a citation at that point.
Oh, what kind of citation is that?
It's actually a criminal citation for dog at large.
Okay, what is that? What's the penalty for something like that?
It's approximately $127.
Okay, all right. And you were telling me before the show, I was talking about how, I told you at the beginning of the show, before we started, that I said I've done stories about, kids in trouble and stuff, and people are upset about that. But then, boy, you throw a pet in there or a dog or something like that, and people
Emotions
really,
run high.
they run really high.
Yeah.
We've had animal stories here that have drawn far more attention than just about any other story we've had. People are really passionate about their pets.
Oh,
I understand why.
Absolutely.
So, how do you handle that?
It's difficult. One of our toughest calls would be, say, a dog in a hot car. And say it's not really that hot out. Somebody loves Fluffy. They brought Fluffy to the store with them. It's in their vehicle. Windows are cracked. Dog is okay. Might be a little nervous. So it might be doing some barking. Somebody walks by, sees this, thinks that somebody is torturing Fluffy for having it in that car. They call 911. So then when we arrive, we might have dog owner now at the vehicle, plus the person who called it in, and those two are just yelling at each other, and we have to get there and assess the situation. First off, make sure the dog is okay, first thing, and then get those people to separate. You know, you go stand over here, you over here, we'll talk to you in a minute, and get them to calm down, let them know we're here. We're here now to help, no need to get in a fight in the parking lot.
So we were talking about penalties too. I think that's where I was leading up to, was that you were mentioning that you've got a friend that's in North Carolina. Yeah, and just the penalties for crimes involving animals, the fees vary.
Yeah, theirs is around $25, where ours will start at around $127.
Okay, for
the same offense.
For the same offense,
Yeah.
So it's a lot cheaper back there. And why do you think it's so much more? Any ideas why it's so much more in Arizona?
You know, I really don't know.
Okay, it just is though.
It is.
And does it vary? Let me ask you this: do you know if the fees vary from city to city, town to town, or is it something that's a state law?
It varies from different city ordinances on different fines. Yeah, like cruelty, it would be statewide for the fine. Okay,
let's talk about. I've got this dog in the neighborhood, let's say, and it's just been there. Maybe I've seen it a couple of days. So what's the best approach I take there in terms of notifying you of that?
The best approach is wherever you live, call your local police department, their non-emergency line, provided the dog isn't being aggressive. If it's being aggressive, attacking people, go ahead and call 911. But you call the non-emergency dispatch line, and they're going to get a hold of us on the police radio. And you want to tell us the last known location of the dog, describe its color, maybe a collar, anything you can give us about it. By the time we get there, it might be, in a different neighborhood by then. They can make tracks pretty quick, but we're going to drive all around and look for it and go ahead and try to capture it.
And what do you do with it?
Then we take our animals to the Yavapai Humane Society. And they're held there. If they don't have identification, they're held for 3 days stray hold. If they do have identification, it's a 5-day stray hold. Well, a hold. And try to get a hold of the owner at that point.
Okay. You guys busy with that?
Yeah, pretty busy.
Humane Society pretty busy with that?
They're pretty packed, yeah.
Yeah? That's too bad.
Because our Humane Society has Yavapai County Animal Control that impounds there, Prescott Valley Animal Control, and us. So all the local agencies plus citizen turn-ins. So they do have their hands full.
I think that's an important point to make that you just did there, because it's Yavapai Humane Society is not just for the city of Prescott. I mean,
No.
they've got animals coming in from all over,
Yes,
at least half the county, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, you said Yavapai County, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sheriff's office,
Yep,
animal
the
control.
sheriff's office,
So,
yes.
yeah.
Correct.
Does the sheriff's office use the Verde Valley Humane Society?
Yeah, I believe they do.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe the animals.
Depending on where they would pick up this animal,
Okay.
what's closer they would take to the more close Humane
So
Society.
again, that mountain probably decides
Probably.
what side the animal goes on. Okay, all right. Microchips. Let's talk about those. I've never had a pet that I put a microchip in. I've got 2 cats right now. They don't have microchips, but they don't go outside. Well, they're not supposed to go outside, but then again, they do every now and again. So tell me a little bit of microchips. Are they fast, dangerous for animals? How important are those?
Microchips are a secondary. They're very helpful for us. We look for the collar at first. We want to see. It's great to have an identification saying a phone number on there and a license that's required by law. We can look you up that way. But if we don't have a collar on that dog, we're going to check for a microchip regardless. But oftentimes people don't register them. The dog will come with a microchip already implanted. They don't call the company. They don't put it in their name. So then by the time we figure out what microchip company to call, give them a call, figure out it's not been registered, or we call the old owner, it can lead to a dead end. So definitely if you get a microchip, be sure to register it, because that way we can get your animal back to you.
Oh, I'd not thought about that. So if I adopt an animal, I imagine the Humane Society.
They already put a microchip in them when you adopt them.
Oh, okay. So if you get an animal from the Humane Society, it's got a microchip in
Yes,
it. Okay,
yes.
I did not know that. So then I'm sure there's instructions on what you're supposed to do and who
Oh
you
yeah,
call, right?
they'll put it in your name when you adopt the dog.
So
at
is
that
this
point.
procrastination we're talking about? Where I get my dog, I get my brand new dog, and I know there's a microchip in there, but I procrastinate long enough and
Yeah.
don't call and get it
Yeah.
registered in my name with my
Oftentimes
address and my phone number.
we'll be able to track it down to the veterinarian that put the microchip, that it was issued that microchip series, but we don't know who bought the particular one unless you
so
register it.
That is important. So what do you use to pick up the microchip?
Oh, we have a microchip reader.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just blip,
We
comes
just-
up and
it's a wand about this big. We just put it over the shoulder blade area, the back area, down the sides, because sometimes a microchip can travel a little bit over time, and we just make sure we all over the dog, and then if it beeps at us and gives us a number, we know it has one.
and that just goes underneath the skin, doesn't it? Don't they just have something they
It's
just
like
kinda...
about the size of a grain of rice.
Okay.
Yeah, and they just inject it right up under usually between the shoulder blades.
I'll be darned. Look at that. What do you know about that? All right. We're going to take our first break already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Shannon Gray's in studio today. She's with Prescott Animal Control, Prescott Police Department Animal Control. She's the supervisor there. Stick around, countywide. Back in just a couple minutes.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Countywide. Great to have you with us today. Prescott Police Animal Control Supervisor Shannon Gray in studio today. A phone number 777-1135. Website is prescott-az.gov. That's the City Prescott website. Let's get into aggressive. We kind of talked about it a little bit in the first part of the show here today about, people, you got a dog in a hot car and some, we talked about the fact that animals get people going. How do you handle a call where it's reported this animal is dangerous, it is being extremely aggressive?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get there as quick as possible to protect the safety of the public. We're going to locate the dog, see the behaviors it's doing. Some of them might be just fearful aggressive. Some might be flat out come after you kind of aggressive. So we have to assess that. And depending on how the dog is behaving is how we're going to go about trying to capture the dog. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can just shake the bag of treats, throw some treats at them, and they're going to friendly up to you after time with some patience. If they're not going after people, you can get a leash on them and load them up. Other ones, you have to corner them and catch them with a catch pole. And the catch pole doesn't hurt them, but it keeps a good safe distance between you and that animal so they can't bite you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, we do have to pepper spray. It is a good non-lethal way of just getting that dog's attention right then, and while they're doing this, well, then we're going to go ahead and lasso them up. Okay.
So when you talk about aggressive behavior, I think a lot of folks probably know what aggressive behavior looks like, but you see people walk up to a dog that they don't know, the dog doesn't know them, and I see people reach out right away and just stick that hand down there. Not aggressively, not trying to be aggressive, but I think in maybe a dog's perspective, it would be considered aggressive where someone's just, wow, that hand is coming right at me,
exactly.
and I don't want that near me.
Exactly.
Normally, it's put your hand down, let them smell it. But what kind of aggressive behaviors do you see in animals that tell you, wow, this one's going to be a tough one?
You could just body language. I watch their ears. I watch their tail. If their ears are back, if their tail is flagging straight up in the air, going like this, or
really?
If it's you might mistake that for wagging, and it's not. It's flagging. Okay. You can tell the difference between wagging and flagging, and then
well, you're going to tell me the difference.
I will, yeah. And some tuck them way up under. That means they're very fearful. You watch their body language. They might be hunched over. Their hackles might be up, running away, watching you as they're running. You just kind of.
So that animal would be considered kind of not aggressive there, or shy?
If it's running away, I would call it maybe more of a fearful aggressive, and you can probably warm up to that dog after time. Just take your time with it and get it to come to you. And oftentimes we'll be able to follow a dog, and as soon as it gets near its property, there's a huge change in the behavior, and we can tell that dog lives at that property because it'll all of a sudden turn and become more aggressive than it was. So then I know that I'll sit out there and honk the horn, wait for somebody to come out, and then they come out and have them get their dog, and then I'll talk with them about it.
Gotcha. Okay, You got to tell us. Wagging and flagging, what's the difference here? I got to know.
Without actual visual aids, but the wagging, more of a flow, fast. Flagging, they'd be kind of more straight up in the air and just kind of doing this kind of a thing.
What does that mean?
They're just kind of getting a feel for the situation, kind of a warning, like, hey, I'm here, and
I feel like a rattlesnake tail.
Yeah,
just kind of
like
slow
that.
motion.
Yeah, not every dog breed does that, but and different breeds show you different signs, so you got to look for that too.
Dogs without tails.
That right?
They make me. I have to say, a dog without a tail, Rottweiler, Doberman. A gal that works in my little country store, she's got an Australian Shepherd that doesn't have a tail. Well, I know that dog loves to see me because I love on that dog every time I go in there.
They're wiggling
But it's got no tail, so you're like, okay.
Well, you can read. Well, obviously, if they're snarling at you and you see teeth, there's a pretty good. There's a pretty good indication.
Right, yeah,
the growling, there's.
Now, what about? Do you ever run into any? Okay, let's back up to the aggressive animals. If I have something like that going on, I certainly shouldn't be sticking my hands down there. I should not be trying to catch that dog myself.
No.
No,
we don't recommend that. We recommend you just get to a safe area and give us a call, and we'll head on out there.
And again, the description of the animal, Does it have a collar, not have a collar on, all that good stuff?
Yeah. Last location that you saw the animal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, those are important things to have. I don't suppose you ever run into aggressive pet owners.
No.
No.
Never. No. Yeah. We do.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. You know, I guess there's probably numerous calls you go on where, you know, pet owners, we love our pets. So what's it like when you show up?
You know, it's education and being friendly, letting them know we're not there to, you know, we're not there to take their animals away from them. You know, sometimes it's just a misunderstanding as to why we're there. And if we can usually verbal judo is what I like to use, is just talk them down, just to let them know, hey, you know, we're here to help the situation. We want to see what's going on. A lot of it is counseling, you know, speaking with the person who called it in along with the person who owns the animal and seeing if we can come to a resolution. Some people, they just don't want to come to a resolution. They can be very difficult. And, you know, it's like I say, you know, people who get warnings, we know that they're going to learn from that educational experience and perfect, we solved it, that's great. Other people flat out do not want to correct the situation, and maybe they're going to be the ones that get the citation. Every once in a while, we do have to call for backup, have a police officer come on scene with us. So
That's a shame.
A little bit extra. You know, it's rare, but it's nice to know that they're there if we need them.
Do you get those calls very often or have to handle that? I mean, you basically, you're like a negotiator then.
Exactly.
That's exactly what you are.
Exactly.
You've got to be the one with the cool head and look at both perspectives.
And the people that have their animals, just because they get called on, doesn't necessarily mean they're doing anything wrong. So they're immediately going to be on the defense. So we have to let them know, hey, we got this call. Doesn't mean we believe this is going on. We're here to check it out for ourselves. So as soon as we get on scene and see what's going on, we can evaluate the situation and handle it, come to a good resolution.
Annoying barking dogs.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get calls about that where there's just
All
one
the
dog in the neighborhood that
time.
it just does not stop barking, just barks.
All the time.
What happens there?
Well, when you have a dog in the neighborhood that's annoying you and it's barking, and you look around, you see that there's nobody walking by, there's no construction, no reason for that dog to be provoked into barking like that. It's just nuisance barking. Maybe it's bored, it's in the backyard, the owner's at work, they don't know it's even barking, and you give the non-emergency police dispatch a call. You have to have the address, you have to be willing to give your name and number so we can contact you to talk about it. We're going to get it on scene, and we're going to sit a couple houses down and turn the vehicle off, roll the window down, and listen. And we're going to see what type of barking's going on, see if we see a reason for that dog to be barking. If it's just going bonkers, then yeah, we're going to go up to that home and leave them a notice if they aren't home, or speak with them about it. Okay. And oftentimes people don't know. They're at work and they have no clue. They come home, they get our notice, they give us a call. They're just, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And they correct it pretty quickly. Other people, you know, maybe the dog is barking, but it's not barking in violation, so there's really not much we can do other than let them know they've had a complaint and hope that they try to quiet it down for their neighbor's sake.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Before we take our next break, you mentioned that when you have an aggressive dog, you use a bag of treats to, you know,
That's my first thing I grab is my bag of treats.
What is Shannon Gray's preferred dog treat for her job?
Just anything soft, squishy, and smelly. So
soft, squishy,
yeah,
and smelly.
if it smells like bacon and it's squishy and you can tear off a piece and throw it at them, and they don't like the hard, crunchy biscuits. They want something good. So.
Oh, I tell you, my dog, when I said milk bone, he went crazy. All right, this is Countywide. Shannon Gray with the Prescott Police Department Animal Control Supervisor in studio today. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left of the program. I told Shannon, I said those treats sound like it's something you could control men with as well. I mean, soft, squishy, and smells like bacon.
Right? Anything bacon.
Anything bacon, yeah. I mean, it's just great. So we want to encourage the microchips. I mean, if you've got a pet that you don't have a microchip in, veterinarians, I imagine.
Absolutely. Go to your local veterinarian. They'd be happy to put one in for you.
Only takes probably a couple minutes to do it.
Real quick.
Don't know what the cost, but it's going to vary.
I'm sure it varies per vet, yeah.
We want to encourage to have their pets spay or neutered.
Yep, that's very important. Control the pet population. That way we don't have so many of them unwanted animals. If you go to local shelters, there's so many that need homes, and just overbreeding is a big problem for that.
Right. And then my final question for you, it's story time with Shannon Gray, ladies and gentlemen. What's the strangest call you have been on in the 11 years that you have been in? Is it all 11 years at Prescott Police Department?
Yes.
All 11 years you've been with the Prescott Police Department as the animal control officer there. What is the strangest call you have been on?
Oh boy, I could probably tell you 10 strange calls.
Okay.
I guess the one most recent strange call would be a lady lived up in the Bouldery area, and her dog liked to chase lizards. So it chased lizards and ended up falling in between these big boulders, and all you could see was its head and back feet sticking out. It squished in between these two boulders. I have no idea how it got in there, or how it's even possible for that body of that dog to get in between those boulders. And so I was just baffled. We had to call the fire department out there, and they were baffled at first too. And we're all just scratching our heads, going, "All right, how are we going to get this dog out of here? Are we going to use jaws of life? Are we going to pull it out?" And luckily, there was about 4 or 5 of them, and they were able to climb on the boulders and wrench this dog out. So I'm just taking pictures, and so I didn't do much with it. They were the heroes that day, but it was pretty interesting to see that poor and unharmed. The dog came out unharmed.
I got 60 seconds more. Yeah, so we've got time for one more thing. One more question for you. Okay, that's one of your recent strange calls. Dog wedged between boulders chasing a lizard. What is the strangest animal that you've been called out to deal with?
Strangest animal.
Wild or domestic?
Oh boy, we've had everything from parrots to snakes to horses running up Willow Creek to porcupines. We deal with wildlife oftentimes. Officer Driscoll, he's my go-to guy there at the station. He got a call one day in the parking lot of a retail store before they opened. A skunk had gotten its head stuck into a Coke can. So it's just running around the parking lot, banging this Coke can around, can't see where it's going. And so after he snapped a couple pictures, he was able to get the can off of the skunk. So the next morning, I found a stuffed skunk and stuffed its head in the Coke can and put it on his desk for him. So
great. Shannon, you did a great job. Thank you so much for coming in and giving us some insight on what it's like to be an animal control officer. Very, very good. Again, Prescott Police, 777-1135, prescott-az.gov. That's today's Countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we will talk to you again next time.